DFA fam, welcome back and happy football Sunday to all of you. Week 14, trying to lock up those playoff spots. I saw Noel was already in the chat saying they got the playoffs locked up, looking to clinch that bye. Let's go. Hoping to get you guys in. So let's just jump right into it. Got Crab Gravy rocking with us. Let's go. High upside, low risk. Morning, boys. Travis Homer or Matt Breida if Barkley sits in a non-PPR. It does look like Barkley is going to go.
Yeah, I think Brian Dable just said just a little bit ago saying that he expects him to play.
So it's Travis Homer.
Yeah.
I guess just while we're waiting on some more questions to come in, what are your thoughts on just Travis Homer in general? Obviously, Ken Walker, DJ Dallas, unlikely to play. They're not playing. Just thoughts, I guess, in general, because I'm sure we're going to get some questions on the Seattle backfield. My thing, and I put this in the Discord last night. My issue with Homer is that he's generally been a third down passing back, change of pace kind of guy. But on the other hand, the guys are going to be looking at to early downs is Tony Jones and Godwin, Ika, whatever his last name is. So that's my only issue with Homer in a matchup where they probably shouldn't have to target the running back a ton.
Yeah, and this this is like a non PPR, so like that would make me feel less inclined to want to play him. Yeah, I don't really much care for any of the running backs in this game, just because there's so many different directions they could go, or they could just go pass heavy and not really utilize any of the running backs. So I know a lot of people are going to want to stick him in there, especially with 6 teams on bye, but I don't feel comfortable with it. Like if you have absolutely nobody else to play, then I guess I don't mind playing Travis Homer, but I'd rather play him in a PPR than a non PPR.
Are we fading Dameon Pierce in this tough matchup? I guess it would depend on who else you have.
Yeah, I mean, it's really going to depend on matchup. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not looking great, especially they have no Brandon Cooks, no Nico Collins, so it's
going back to Davis Mills.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like you could play him, but I don't have high expectations for him. I have him kind of like I did a few weeks ago, basically down at RB24, but as low as you can get as an RB2 as you possibly can.
Yeah. Ken, Ravens or Pats D?
I'd probably go Ravens. So I don't think the Pats defense is nearly as good as people think that it is. I think they're okay. I think it's a good defense, not great. And so like the Cardinals have more than enough weapons to get it done here, and with Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, and they getting Marquise Brown back is huge. James Conner, like there's a lot of weapons on this offense. I'm not going to play the Pats defense in this matchup. I would rather go with the Ravens. Though I don't love the Ravens, mainly because I feel like that game's gonna be kind of gross, like low scoring, low pace, so there's not gonna be a ton of opportunities, but there's probably not a ton of opportunities for them to lose a lot of points either. So they're probably a safe defense.
Yeah, I think between these two, I would go with Baltimore. I know I didn't put out the streaming video this week, but there's really just not like a ton of great streaming options either. So you might just be stuck with going with just like one of these defenses you don't feel great about. And I think I'm with you, Kev. I would go Baltimore. Crip. Running back in a flex in a full PPR. Homer, Lenny, Dobbins, Mike Williams, or Devonta Smith. So I'm going to go Lenny at running back just by default. And then flex, I'm going to go Smitty.
I'm going to go Mike Williams in the flex. I kind of want to say Dobbins, but Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll go Leonard. I don't love him either. It's a really bad matchup. Rashad White taking a lot of pass catching upside away from him. But yeah, I just don't know really truly what to expect from J.K. Dobbins coming back and
Yeah.
how many touches is he going to see? How involved is he going to be? In the game plan. Um, Coming off a knee injury, it's not a terrible matchup. It's not a great matchup either against Pittsburgh. And they just have so many different, running backs they can utilize now. Gus Edwards being healthy, and Kenyon Drake, and J.K. Dobbins. So yeah, I'd probably just go.
Yep. Tim is going all in on the Lions. Wish me luck. It's not that bad of an idea.
Yeah, it's by far the best game on the slate of games today. Like it's this, and then there's the Bengals Cleveland game, and then there's a drop off, a pretty significant drop off to everything else.
Going all in on the Lions isn't the same as it once was.
Yeah.
Patty Fry or Dulcich?
I mean, man, I I would go Dulcich.
The path to targets is much clearer, right?
It's super close to both of them. I like both of these guys quite a bit this week. I think both of them are definitely in play, but I just slightly I lean towards Dulcich. Likely playing from a negative game script. Gonna have to throw the ball a lot. No Cortland Sutton, so there's it's Jerry Judy, Kendall Hinton, and Dulcich. We saw him see 8 targets last week. Probably pretty similar. Probably what you should expect from him this week. And the Chiefs have at times struggled against tight ends this year. So
yeah, and that spread coming down a point too as well, Kev. That was up to 9.5. It's now down to 8.5. People taking the points there. Michael Brown pick 2, Sanders, Pacheco, Pierce, and Rashad White in a PPR.
First 2.
Yes. Bob McDonald had a farm. Bam Knight or Damian Pierce?
I'm going Zonovan Knight here.
Zonovan Knight for me as well. Another one here from Ken. Michael Carter or Travis Homer? Go Michael Carter.
I'm going to go Homer on this one with it being a half-point PPR. Yeah. I think this is Zonovan Knight's backfield. Like I think Michael Carter will get some opportunities, but
I think he ends up seeing more than Travis Homer.
I think it's in the range of possibility. I think there's a higher likelihood that Homer could see more opportunities than Michael Carter. So.
Okay. Well, play Saquon this week? ? Even if he doesn't play, seems like he'll be at 100%. Also a tough matchup. Could also play Pacheco instead, but it feels wrong to bench Saquon.
I mean, I think you got to play Saquon. It's a neck injury. It's not obviously but it's clearly if he's playing, it's not like anything serious. I would expect it's probably some sort of soreness or something like that. It's not a leg or an ankle or something like that. I would expect if he's going to play, he's probably going to be pretty good to go. It's not a bad matchup. I mean, the Eagles haven't been great against the run. They've looked better recently, and I think some of that is more some of the players they've added and getting some players back. So, if you wanted to go Pacheco, I don't hate it, but it's risky. I mean, put it that way, because Saquon is, so explosive. He could rip off a 70-yard touchdown run and get there in one carry, but it's also on the opposite side of that. And yes, maybe he sees a reduced workload than what he normally sees. But he's been so safe this year. Like he said, he hasn't had a whole lot of just monster performances, right? Like he's pretty much, for the most part, on most weeks, he's giving you anywhere from 15 to 18, somewhere right around that range. But because the highest he's had was week 1, and that was when he scored 33. Other than that, He's been more consistent than anything.
Can Mike Williams, Godwin, DJ Moore, or Jameson Williams? We need 2.5 PPR.
So Godwin and Mike Williams.
Samesies. But if you did want to go the safe route, Ken, I would swap in DJ Moore for Mike Williams. It's just, I wish we didn't have the week we had where it was one catch for 15 yards from Mike Williams and immediately back to the bench. Otherwise, this would be a slam dunk, right?
Yeah, the only thing that I would say is one, he carried no injury designation going in. He got a bunch of full practices this week, so I think he is much closer. I think the last time that he played, he was limited all week and then ended up playing. Like this is different. Like he's been full, no injury designation whatsoever for him, so I think he's good to go.
B growing stuff. Good to see BG back here. Haven't seen you for a while. Hope all is well. PPR pick 2, Juju, Chark, or Homer.
I'm gonna go with the first two.
First two. Locking it in. Aiden, need a win to get into the playoffs today. Let's go. Niners or Seahawks D? That's going to be the Niners for me.
Yeah, especially with the state of the Buccaneers offensive line.
Wirfs out again.
Yeah. Nick Bosa's playing, so that's positive.
Yeah.
He was questionable, so I don't know. I don't hate Seattle. I mean, obviously you're going against Sam Darnold, so anything can happen there. So you know, I'm gonna go Seattle.
My only issue with Seattle is they've just been so dependent on turnovers, which, like you said, it's Sam Darnold. So very likely they end up getting there again. I just think the Niners are a bit safer. Like I still think they could, end up getting a couple sacks, maybe a turnover of their own in that game. It's not like the Buccaneers offense has been something that, we're fading in terms of defensive matchups. So I think the Niners are just a little bit safer. CVB. Kicker question. Dicker, Mayer, Folk. I'm gonna go Mar.
Yeah. I think
just with that implied total, gonna be a bunch of points scored by Dallas. Mayer. And then at QB, Murray or Dak?
I'm going to go with Murray.
I think you're right. Because the worry with Dak is obviously they just get up super early, kind of park the bus, and just lean on the run game, and Dak doesn't have to do a lot. Where with Murray, and then on the other side of that game, Jalen Mills is also out, which should definitely help the passing offense. So gonna lean Murray as well. Emilio Evans or Jeff Wilson in the flex in a full PPR. This is where we have come.
I'm going to go with Mike Evans.
I'm going Evans as well, but this is... I wish I could laugh at you for asking this question, Emilio. Like, oh my God, of course it's Evans. It's not... It's not a slam dunk. But I'm still going to go with Evans. 1KCDOT. Kittle or Njoku?
I'm gonna go with Kittle.
Selfishly for me, since we just had a combination of these, Kittle or Evans?
I think I would go Evans. I mean, I do like George Kittle, so I think the path for him I think is decent. The Buccaneers are pretty bad against opposing tight ends. They have the fourth most PPR points tight ends. I think last week I know he didn't do a whole lot, but Purdy. I mean, I don't know. Like Purdy's like maybe he's decent. Like he played well in preseason, and he's clearly going to be the guy. But they didn't really have to throw the ball a whole bunch last week, right? They got a pretty big on the Dolphins and built a pretty early lead on them. So I don't think they really had to throw the ball a lot. And so I think with this game likely being a lot closer, and with Kittle, I think he could be a guy that sees a lot more involvement. Where Njoku, I like Njoku as well, and this is another game that kind of profiles pretty well. But my God, Deshaun Watson looked terrible last week. I think he's going to get better, but like I don't really know what to expect with him and how this could play out. And so I think I would just lean towards George Kittle and what should be a much better game script and matchup.
I'm going to lean Njoku. Everything you just laid out makes sense, but we're also looking at a 47.5 point total in that game compared to 37.5. Niners 20.5 implied total. Not that much better for Cleveland, but it is at 21.75. Now, Cooper is going to play, but is he banged up or limited at all? I do expect Watson to look better, to play better in this game. So just because of I think that that Tampa Bay San Fran game just gonna be like slow paced, boring. Not a lot of offensive goodness going on. Where this could be a situation. I mean, right now it's only a 4-point spread in that Cleveland game. I think that could be a situation where the Bengals just jump out to an early lead, and it kind of forces Watson to have to drop back and throw more often compared to what he did last week. Andrea needs 2 here. Mostert, Knight, McKinnon, Homer, or Singletary in a PPR.
So I'm going to go with Knight. The other one's tough. So I don't think this is a McKinnon game where McKinnon's going to see a lot of run for the Chiefs. So I'm not as enthused with playing him. Singletary is really battling it out with James Cook, who James Cook is somebody that I actually really like this weekend. But he might be a little bit more of a safer option, but it's not necessarily a great matchup going up against the Jets. And then you have Raheem Mostert, who's going to be splitting touches, but he's in a great matchup going against the Chargers, but we don't really know his usage. And then you have Homer, which is kind of in a similar situation as Mostert. I would probably lean towards Mostert just because of how good the matchup is.
Yeah, I lean that way as well for everything you just laid out. I do think McKinnon could be a little bit more involved than what people think just because of how that matchup sets up against the Denver's defense. And like you said plenty of weeks before, that Kansas City will kind of just abandon the run. They don't really care about it. So I think we could see some dump offs to McKinnon, but I lean Mostert, just like you said, with the way this matchup sets up. It's just a fantastic spot for that run game.
Yeah, I mean, if we get some sort of lean, I mean, because you're going to have time to make the decision that maybe Travis Homer, he's going to be the starter. I don't know. Because it's not a bad matchup because Carolina allows the 7th most full PPR, or or PPR points to running back. So I mean, it's a really good matchup for them as well. Going against Carolina, it's just I don't know how this is going to play with him, right? And so it's tougher to trust. So I think maybe Homer probably has a little bit higher of a ceiling because he could end up being the guy. And if he is, we don't, because it's a bunch of other dudes. Where Jeff Wilson could definitely, be much more involved than Mostert is in this matchup against the Chargers. So I think Homer actually probably has the highest ceiling of the remaining running backs yet that you have left. But Mostert's probably a little safer of an option, especially in a full PPR. So if you want to go Homer, I don't mind it, just because he could end up being the guy for this 1 week.
That makes sense. Need a flex here. Perine, Dortch, Okonkwo. Also, I gotta say, it feels good to see Okonkwo being talked about.
He's pretty chalky this week in old DFS, so a lot of people. He's just super explosive, man. He rips off these 30, 40-yard receptions every single game. If he could just get more usage, it could be really good for him. But
he was kind of my pickup for free rookie flyer across a bunch of my leagues. I got him for my auction league. It was like $1. He was like a 4th round pick. He was just one of those guys who had that constant. We talk about that drum beat all the time, and he had that constant drum beat from the offseason. Anyway, not here to brag about offseason takes. Back to Ross' question. Perine, Dortch, Okonkwo. God.
I think I'll go Dortch here without Rondale Moore. He's going to play the slot. With the other two on the outside. I think that's probably the way that I would go. I don't know what other options might be sitting out there, but somebody like Nick Westbrook, Akine, could actually be a really good play today against the Jags. I actually have him moved up to a top 36 wide receiver with the likelihood of Treylon Burks being out. So I do like him quite a bit. It's just kind of another option here for people that's probably widely available if you need someone to plug in and play. Kendall Hinton is another really good option with all the injuries they have and the likelihood that they're going to have to throw the ball. So I think both of those guys are squarely in play for this week for people that are maybe looking. And another guy who has been popping in a lot of projections this week that actually is gaining a lot of buzz in DFS that people are looking to play. It's Laviska Shenault. A lot of people are gravitating towards him as a play against Seattle. He is seeing more opportunities lately, seeing more targets. So I know that's a pretty thin play, and maybe in season long you don't go there, but he is somebody that a lot of people are gaining a lot of buzz this week that a lot of people want to play. He's Laviska Shenault. I know he is 100% available pretty much everywhere. And then maybe a guy like Isaiah Hodgins could be another option that you could look at as well.
I'm going to go Perine here.
I just don't know how much he plays. He used to go right back to being a Joe Mixon 100% leading this way, and Perine going back. Perine did nothing outside of the weeks that Mixon's played, and so I know he's played really well. And it's not like Joe Mixon's coming off again. Concussions are a little bit easier. If he's back, he should be back. He's ready to go. Sure, you could suffer another one, but it's not a knee injury where you could just tweak it on the first carry of the game or something like that. So it's a tremendous matchup for Mixon. I just don't see the path for Samaje Perine is going to see a bunch of opportunities. He's probably limited at most to 7 to 10 at the most. And how much of that is even through the air, I don't know. So I'm not playing with fire with playing Samaje Perine when you have Joe Mixon healthy.
I just for me, just out of this group, it is, like you said, playing with fire, but we have seen a couple of instances this year where, even if he's not getting there with carries, 5 targets, 2, 4, 2, 3, it's definitely thin, But I just think with this matchup going up against the Browns, who have given up the second most PPR points per game in the last 5 weeks to running backs, like I feel a little bit more comfortable about P. Ryan falling into the end zone versus these other two options.
Yeah, I mean, I could also see Dortch though getting like 6 or 7 receptions in that game, but
I mean,
uh,
do you really think so with the other two healthy options? Like if one of those other guys were out, if we're down to D Hop and Dortch, but I don't know.
it is. But that's why I also mentioned some of the other options. Like I don't really love any of the options that are listed, but that's
Yeah.
why I said someone like Nick Westbrook-Akine, who's probably available in 90% of leagues, if not more, is in a really good spot against a really good matchup without Treylon Burks. Like, there's a lot to like there for him. So
Yeah. White or Knight?
I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go Knight. I think it's close between the two of them, but uh, it's just not a really good matchup. He's gonna have to see a lot of targets, which he did last week. I mean, he saw a lot of receptions. He ended up, but that touchdown was really kind of what saved him from being just a really
Yeah.
average day uh, to being really good there at the end of that game. And so it'll really depend on game script and how all this plays. So I just lean Knight. Like, I know Knight's leading this backfield.
Amari Cooper on pitch count or Latavius Murray? I haven't seen anything that Cooper's going to be on a pitch count. I think he should be good to go. Obviously, he was questionable with that hip injury, but I have not seen anything about that. And I'm still going to go Amari here.
Yeah, I'd probably lean Amari too. If he's playing, like, this whole pitch count stuff, like, I don't care about that. Like, we have no idea what that means, for a player. And people were saying that about Jamar Chase last week too. Like, oh, he's going to be limited, and he ran, I think, a route on 92% of dropbacks.
I think he
Like,
played all but 2 snaps.
yeah, it's like this. Like, it's I don't buy into that kind of stuff. I will say another interesting name to monitor at running back would be Mike Boone. Could be something that people should
Yeah.
be looking to possibly add ahead of this week. If especially if you're already locked into the playoffs, you have nothing to play for this week. Like, this is the time to really start stashing those guys, because if one injury happens, now you have a lottery ticket for the last couple of weeks. So, and Mike Boone could be that guy. Now he's back from the injury, and I think he's a better running back than Latavius Murray is. So,
Mostert or Jamal Williams?
I'm gonna go with Mostert. I don't love Jamal Williams, and I get it. He scores a touchdown every week, so it's kind of hard to say it. That he's touchdown dependent, because the guy scores a damn touchdown every week. But I'm gonna go with Mostert.
I'm gonna go Williams. I mean, the floor, if he doesn't score a touchdown, is extremely low. I mean, we're talking 5-6 points, but we do know that he's going to get carries. Like, could Mostert end up leading Jeff Wilson in this one? Sure. But like you said, could this just be a scenario where Jeff Wilson goes back to being a 70% opportunity kind of guy in this matchup? Like, that's definitely in the range of outcomes as well. We know for sure that, even with DeAndre Swift getting more involved potentially this week, on the back of his performance last week, that it's not like Jamal Williams is going to be phased out. Like, he's still going to get double-digit carries no matter what, and you kind of just hope that he ends up finding the end zone. And I mean, it's not out of the range of possibilities either, with the Vikings giving up the third most points per game to running backs over the last 5 weeks. Foreman, Sanders, Pacheco, Knight. We need 2 here for Ra.
First 2.
First 2 for me as well. Doob. Just rolling up a Doob. ETN or James Conner? I'm going James Conner here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, New England's been good against running backs. That's been kind of their only thing they've, not the only thing I should say that, but that's how they have been really good against is opposing running backs. But he's also involved in the passing game as well. Travis Etienne is also in a horrifically bad matchup.
Horrific.
Tennessee has been excellent. They're not utilizing him as a pass catcher, which is frustrating. So I think I would go James Conner.
CHB just picked up Travis Homer, part 2. But
No.
this next part, didn't feel like waiting to play Hollywood Brown. I am not playing Homer over Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, I'm not either. I'm playing Hollywood Brown.
I know we have those emotional ties, CHB, with Penny leading you to the promised land last year. Thanks to me, of course. We've already discussed this. It was my call, but I'm not playing Travis Homer over Hollywood Brown.
That was such the fakest call ever. Because when he first said it over the offseason, I was like, no, what is he talking about? I was all over. I was the Rashad Penny guy, beating the drum for weeks to pick up Rashad Penny, and I just kept telling him I was dumb. And then all of a sudden, he's like, "No, it was Cody." I'm like, "No, there's no way it could have been Cody." And then he proved it to me, and I'm like, "Oh, this is bullshit." So the one time Cody ever said Rashad Penny, he gets all the credit. That like he was the Rashad Penny guy
on a solo show, nonetheless, too. So you weren't even there to go to bat for him. Michael Reeves, Higgins, Mike Williams, Amari Cooper, Gallup, full PPR. We need 3.
So Higgins,
First 3.
Mike Williams. Yeah, I think I'm gonna. I think I would still go Amari over. I like Gallup a lot, but it just feels a little thin going against Houston. We know the Dallas Cowboys. If you let them, they will run all over you all day and not really open up the offense and throw the ball as much. And so, yeah,
James Washington's back too.
Oh God, yeah. So, I mean, I expect Amari Cooper to play. So, and play more than what I think people are afraid of. Sure, he could get hurt and get knocked out in the first drive or something like that, but you could say that about pretty much everybody.
Yeah. Kian, Knight, Juju, Connor, Dobbins. We need 1 in a PPR. It's going to be Juju for me.
Yeah, I think I agree, yeah.
Just give me the best offense. Like that's what that comes down to. Like Dobbins really isn't a consideration for me, coming off that injury. Connor, I think, sees the most volume out of this group, but with all these questions, like I said, just give me the best offense. Give me Juju. CHB, Bucks defense or Steelers, both playing backup quarterbacks today.
I think I would go with the Bucks.
I think it's the Bucks too, but I would feel a lot better if they weren't without their 2 starting safeties. Looks like Winfield and I can't remember the name of their other safety. Mike something. I can't remember his last name. But both those guys are going to be out. But it is going up against Brock Purdy. And I think he had like the lowest ADOT among all quarterbacks last week. So I don't think there's a ton to be worried about. And Huntley has played well. So, even with a backup quarterback, like, is it crazy to say that there's maybe not that much of a drop off from Lamar to Huntley?
No, because we saw it last year. We saw him be able to operate he played pretty well last year. I mean, we've seen this script before already. He did it last year. And so I think every game he rushed for at least 40 yards that he played in last year. So he gives you that, maybe not as high of a rushing, ceiling, but he can definitely get it done on the ground. And so, yeah, I don't think it's all that dissimilar between the two of them. And let's be honest, Lamar Jackson hasn't really been playing the best either since really the start of the year.
Yeah. Terrence Evans, RB2, Jamal Williams, Rashad White, or Travis Homer in a PPR.
This one I'm going to go Rashad White.
I'm going to go Jamal Williams here. Like I know we talked about this, being a thin play with Jamal Williams, because if he doesn't find the end zone, you have a very very low ceiling. Finding the end zone is something that he has done a ton of, though. Like you said, Kev, last week, if he doesn't get into the end zone at the very last minute, that is not a good week for him at all. And the other thing that I'm slightly worried about with Rashad White, I know he saw 9 targets last week, but Tom Brady also dropped back to pass 54 times. Like I don't think we see Tom Brady dropping back even 40 times in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, because they got down, and they really couldn't run the ball, which we're not going to run the ball against the 49ers either. It just really depends on game script. So if it's close, so they don't really have to throw the ball as much, because I mean they were down 16-3. So I don't know. Like I think he could go either way. It's just So I see that. I mean, I could see I can see where you're coming from, but it's just with Jamal Williams, man. Like if he doesn't score any, he scored 14 of them this year. So but like that's all he's doing is scoring touchdowns. So if it doesn't come, he's going to get you like 4 or 5. And now we're seeing DeAndre Swift being more involved. At least before, he was kind of being the lead back. He was the guy that was carrying the ball 60-70% of the time. Now we're seeing a little bit of a flip, and DeAndre Swift looks like he's completely healthy. So, he may even see less opportunities.
Mr. Put It in Reverse, any word on Barkley? Looks like he is going to be good to go. Looks like he is going to play. The Shepherd, Connor or Homer? That is going to be Connor for both of us. Barkley over Zeke. Leaning Zeke, or should I put in reverse? I don't mind going Zeke over Barkley.
I think Zeke is safer at this point with matchup, with it knowing how this matchup plays. They're going to run the ball a lot. Even they're going to have to get up somehow. So like I know we kind of have the narrative of this could be a blowout. The starters could be out by halftime. Possible, but but I will say though the Cowboys really haven't shown that. I mean, last week they were up pretty big, still quite a bit of time, and they were still left really the starters out there pretty much till the very end. And so, but even with, I still think Zeke, somebody's got it. You got to get there right to that point, and so, I think Zeke is safer, like because we know he's probably going to get the opportunities on the goal line and stuff like that, so we can find the end zone. Great matchup. So I do think Zeke is safer of an option than Saquon with everything going around it, but Saquon has the higher ceiling, as the higher upside play. So it just really depends on what you need. Like, what are you looking at this week? Like, are you like, do you even need this week? You have to win to get in if you're already in? I mean, I don't know. Are you just playing for positioning or what? So how are you looking with the guy you're going against or the person you're going against? Are you trailing and you just need that true upside, that true ceiling play? If it is, it's Barkley. If not, you can play a little safer. I would go Zeke.
Yeah, I'm going Zeke because I think he has a ceiling in this matchup, right? With how bad Houston has been, like projected to win. I mean, averaging over 5 yards per carry, back-to-back weeks, a touchdown in both weeks. Like this could be a situation where, he ends up getting 2 touchdowns and 80, 90 yards on the ground. And I think the touchdown upside is there for Zeke to have a really nice week.
Yeah, but I mean Pollard being there can zap all of that away. If he break, because really those long touchdowns that he breaks off kills everybody. besides him, obviously, because it's just those are quick scoring touchdowns, and so yeah, it just really depends on how that plays out. But yeah,
Mike Rice, do I drop a Dolphins running back for Zonovan Knight?
I think I would drop Mostert for him. I think I would drop Mostert for him. Zonovan Knight's, like I said, Zonovan Knight's not going away. I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks since this happened. He's the guy. He's going to be their starter moving forward, barring some sort of injury. So even with Michael Carter there, like I think you could see Zonovan Knight still go and get you probably play 60, 65% get the opportunities to where Michael Carter comes in and kind of cleans up and kind of gets the rest of it. So.
Ashton, apologies for missing this one. We'll get to this one before we jump to the GOAT, to the OG. Do we think LV should move off of Carr?
Yeah. I mean, but they probably should have moved off a long time ago. I know Raiders fans aren't going to like that answer because they think he's really good. He just needs the perfect. He is your typical middle of the road average quarterback. Like if everything is going great, bad matchup, he's great. Like he can go out there and throw for 300 yards. He's Jared Goff. Like he's that guy, right? He's never going to take this team anywhere. They would have to have an elite defense for that to happen, or a very, very good defense. They have all the weapons in the world now, and it's not happening. And every year it's somebody else's fault. It never seems to be Derek Carr's fault. It's always the coaches or somebody else's. Yes, they should have moved off him a long time ago. This is kind of always who he's always been. But will they move off of him? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what are they going to do. I know people are like, oh, they should just trade him to Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers. Like, oh, okay. Like, why do you think Green Bay would want to do that? Like, why would Green Bay want to acquire Derek Carr when they have Jordan Love, who they drafted, invested a draft pick in? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you do that? So like that's what people's go-to answer is. Oh, they'll just do that. I'm like, okay. Like maybe there's a team that you could trade for Derek Carr too. Maybe a Panthers team or somebody like that, or the Giants or something like that. That maybe they would be willing to do something like that. I think it would be stupid, but you never know. So, but yeah, he's probably back next year, but they should definitely be looking to move off him. But I've been saying that for a while.
Yeah. Just the shitty thing is now that they have 5 wins, I mean, like not going to be like in a great position to draft someone without trading up, you know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting. I'm so excited for the offseason. I can't wait. TN, the GOAT, the OG, the 101. I mean, what else can be said? San Fran or the Cincy defense? Thanks, TFA fam. Thank you, TN. Just the absolute GOAT.
Absolutely is 100%.
And that's going to be San Fran for me.
I think I would go Cincinnati. I mean, if Deshaun Watson looks as bad as he did last week, it's going to be a rough game for them. I know this is a game that Cincinnati. I know that they already got their ass kicked by the Browns once earlier in the year, but I know this is a game that they've talked a lot about. That they especially Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase obviously didn't play the first time they played them, but Deshaun Watson looks so bad in that game. It is at home as well, so that is good. It's just, going up against Tom Brady, you just don't ever know what to expect. I mean, it could go sideways as well for Brock Purdy if he doesn't pan out and he turns the ball over a lot. Then maybe those opportunities. And you have to remember too, like Tom Brady gets the ball out of his hands at one of the fastest rates in the league. He still does, and so he can mitigate a lot of those sack opportunities, pressure rate opportunities because of how quickly he can get the ball out of his hands. And so I just lean towards Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's in a little bit better spot than what San Francisco is. So I would go Cincinnati.
Appreciate you, Ashton. Appreciate you, TN.
Carson making an appearance.
Always got the fresh cut.
Who's he going with this week? San Francisco or Cincy? What's the Carson special
Carson,
say?
San Francisco or Cincinnati? Which one?
There we go. Let's go, Carson. Let's go.
Cincinnati. That's been his new thing all week, is just fake burps. So that's been a lot of fun. Jamal Williams or James Cook in a full PPR. I guess I'm going down with the Jamal Williams ship. I want to see it for more than 1 week with James Cook. I think Jamal Williams is certainly the safer option. And like I said, this is probably going to come back to bite me in the ass, just answering all these questions with Jamal Williams. But I want to see it for another week.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with James Cook. I already talked about him, like him quite a bit this week. So, yeah, I would go James Cook.
Sorry, I couldn't help you out there, Terry. DJ Chark or George Pickens for EM10?
Man.
I'm gonna go Chark.
I mean, the matchup is definitely there for Chark, right? The game script, all that stuff. Probably a little bit better of a matchup, though. Baltimore can definitely be had through the air. I mean, they're not. That is where they're certainly can be had, but you know what? I'm gonna go Pickens. I'm gonna go George Pickens.
Yeah, I mean, for me with Chark, we're looking at a 51.5 point total compared to 36.5, a 27-point implied team total for Detroit compared to 19.25 for the Steelers. Jameson Williams get a little bit more involved this week. Certainly possible, but this is also a situation where he obviously wasn't part of any of the off-season stuff. So I just think with Chark, is it a little point chasey? I mean, I guess, but he was still getting targets even before the 5 for 98 and a score or whatever he had last week. And again, just a better matchup. So I lean Chark here. Seattle D or Baltimore D? I'm going to go Seattle on that one for Tony.
I would go Baltimore.
Brandon, ETN or Christian Kirk at the flex? Appreciate the super chat. Titans defensive front is tough, but secondary is mediocre, which is why I am conflicted, and that is going to be Christian Kirk for me.
Yeah, I agree. I'd go Kirk. I get it, and he's going to see opportunities and stuff like that. ATN, but it's just not a very good matchup against this Titans defense. Like they have been so good at stopping opposing running backs this year. It'd be like it would be totally different, I think, if ETN was seeing 5 or 6 targets per game or something. He's not. He's barely seeing 3 targets a game. It's frustrating with him at that aspect, because that was something that I think most people were the most excited about with him, is his pass catching involvement. And then whatever he got rushing the ball was just going to be kind of on top of that. But it's been the opposite. They've utilized him completely the opposite of that, and it's been most of it's been through the ground, and then he's just seeing a little bit of opportunity, through the air. And that's been what's frustrating with him. So he's harder to trust if that's all it's going to be. And I'm not nearly as likely going to play somebody if they're just not, matchup dependent. Then yeah, I would just go Christian Kirk.
Yeah, really like Kirk in this matchup, and ETN, I do not. Appreciate all you guys coming through the super chats. Hit us with a like and a sub if you have yet to do so. Going to be with you guys for another 45 minutes. Ashton, PPR start, one running back and one flex. P. Ryan, Homer, Tony Jones, Robinson, or Paca.
So I'm going to go with Homer and Devontae Parker.
Oh.
I guess that's another. I guess I could have talked about earlier too, because no Jacoby Myers. I think so that elevates guys like Devontae Parker and Nelson Aguilar. I think both those guys become a little bit more intriguing this week without Jacoby Myers. So,
and Byron Murphy out for Arizona, which is a big deal.
yeah.
I'm gonna go P. Ryan and Parker. Like I know it's super thin with P. Ryan, but I do think he has earned himself a few more touches. Like I don't think it's going to be anywhere near like a 55-45, 60-40 type of split, but I do think we could see P. Ryan have a little bit more involvement on the ground, and we already know that he was seeing some of that third down work just inexplicably compared to Mixon. And in that matchup, like I said, with the Browns, I think giving up the second or third most PPR points per game to running backs over the past 5 weeks. Just feel better about him and that. Like, I just don't know what to expect out of that Seattle backfield. So I don't want to mess around there. So that's going to be P. Ryan Parker for me. Devin Craig, Knight or Dulcich?
I'm gonna go with Knight.
I lean Knight as well, but it's close.
Yeah, and I mean, who are you starting at tight end already? Like now, I mean, is it Kelsey or Mark Andrews, something like that?
Maybe a Patty Fry. PPR tight end premium. Garrett Wilson, Dulcich, or Ayuk. We need to sit one. I think I'm going to sit Ayuk.
Yeah, I think I would too. I think, yeah.
Any thoughts on a Lions defense for week 16 and 17 versus the Ravens or Rams or other sleeper idea? I would definitely not do the Lions. Tony, I know that their run defense has gotten a bit better, and obviously those matchups, looks like Lamar should be back for week 16, so like that's definitely not enticing to me. I mean, the Rams are kind of whatever. Don't have any ideas for you right now, but I will look into some playoff guys you can just look to pick up and just play through the playoffs at defense, and I'll drop some of those. I will have that video out for you guys this week, so look for that on Monday or Tuesday. Godwin or Pacheco in the flex?
I'm gonna go Godwin.
We need one here for Rico. Pierce, Cook, or White?
I'm gonna go with Rashad White.
Man, that's really close to me between Cook and White, but I think White is a little bit more bankable in terms of his involvement, so I will lean White. Goff, Huntley, or Brady at quarterback? That's going to be Goff for me.
Yeah.
Giovanni, who should be my flex for playoffs? Pacheco, Foreman, Pickens, Judy, Jameson, or DJ Moore? I mean, Giovanni, I wouldn't be looking to just lock in any of these options for your playoffs. I mean, this is definitely a week by week type of proposition. For today, I would lean Foreman out of that group. But I know the Chiefs have some nice matchups coming up where Pacheco is going to look good too. I mean, Jameson Williams, I'm probably not going to be picking too often over any of those. I don't know what the Panthers schedule looks like coming up, but obviously DJ Moore is more viable with Sam Darnold at quarterback. So keep checking back in with us on a week-to-week basis, Giovanni. You can always drop comments on our other YouTube videos as well in the comments. We can definitely answer your questions going forward. But this week, it would be Foreman for me. PPR tight end premium. We need 2 here. Dulcich, Homer, Jones, Westbrook, Akine, or Gage. It's going to be Dulcich and NWI for me.
I'm going to go with Travis Homer and Dulcich in this one. They're being a tight end premium.
Brady, Huntley, Lawrence. We need 1 here for Andrea.
I think purely for floor would be Huntley, but I think Trevor Lawrence might be, because this is a really good. I mean, we know that. So the Titans are terrible against there's against the pass. They're really good against the run. Complete pass funnel for them. So Trevor Lawrence, who's actually been, really good, pretty solid this year actually. Brady, it's just that matchup, man. I don't know. It just doesn't feel great. Brady hasn't really shown much. So I think I would go, just for ceiling, I would go Trevor Lawrence. I think for floor, I think I would go Huntley. Is the way that I would look at it. And I was trying to go through real quick and see if any defenses stand out. Like, there's nothing that stands out to me in terms of, like, just you lock them in for the entire run of the fantasy playoffs and you're good to go. Everybody kind of has some landmines through there, but maybe one week you don't want to play this. But the best looking one that I could find right now is probably the Washington Commanders defense. They get the Giants, the 49ers, and then Cleveland through their run of the playoffs. So it's not necessarily great, but it's not terrible either. The Titans kind of look okay, but they get the Chargers, which isn't great, and then they get Houston, but then they get Dallas, so that's not great. Baltimore might not be bad, but a lot of these defenses probably aren't available either. Like Philly, Buffalo, Dallas, like all those guys aren't sitting out there widely available for most people. I would also say Minnesota doesn't look bad because they get Indy, the Giants, and then Green Bay. But that's just kind of what after I was looking through it.
Fournette or Zonovan Knight?
I'm going to go Zonovan Knight.
I'm going to go Fournette on that one. Ashton, another PPR tight end. I feel like Ashton is in every iteration of a tight end premium league you could possibly have. All these are different bumps for the tight end, but we need 1 running back and 1 flex here at a Singletary, P. Ryan, Tony Jones, or Dulcich.
I'm going to go Singletary and Dulcich.
Samesy. CVB, 1 flex and a full PPR. Kirk, Williams, White, Ayuk, or DPJ. That is going to be Kirk for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Knight or a Singletary?
Zonovan Knight.
Mike, not getting me on that one, Mike. Need some help here in a must-win week. Higgins, Evans, Judy have to sit 1. Just
Well, first I was like, wait. And I was like, is that what and I was like, oh, never mind. Got it.
I'm going to sit Judy, but
I'm going to sit Mike Evans.
Yeah, I mean it's not crazy.
There's some weather concerns there for that game. It's not like anything terrible, but there is supposed to have like 15-mile-an-hour winds with gusts up to 25 miles an hour. I think some light rain. Like, it's not anything like crazy that it's like a complete stay away. Normally we look at like 20-mile-an-hour sustained wind, so it's not going to be that bad there. So there is a little bit of that, which would really hurt Mike Evans anyway, who doesn't, who's not seeing a ton of opportunities. He's somebody that we talk a ton about, I think, on Wednesday. But yeah, so I think on this one, I think I would sit Mike Evans. I mean, Jerry Judy's is unquestioned number one now without Cortland Sutton. In a matchup, they're going to throw the ball. T. Higgins in a good matchup against the Browns. So I would go Higgins and Judy.
Yeah, we're definitely not sitting Higgins out of that group. It's just Russ has just been dog poop. That's why I lean Evans, but it's closer than what it should be. Chris all in coming in with the Euros. Let's go. I think it's our first Euro, I believe. Appreciate you, Chris. Where are you from? Where are you joining us from? Just I'm curious. But we need Davis, Fournette, Robinson, Chark, Gabe Davis, or Zonovan Knight full PPR at the flex.
I see the problem here. There are a few really decent options.
Yes.
I don't think I'm not playing DeMarcus Robinson. I know he's seeing a lot of targets and a lot of, but I with the other options you have, can't do that. So I would remove him. Corey Davis, I think, is fine, but again, not really in love with that either. Wide receiver in the best spot in that game is actually Elijah Moore. I think he's in a really good spot. But so it comes out but Gabe Davis is tough, right? Because Gabe Davis is so boom or bust, right? I think Sauce Gardner sees a lot of digs. And so, or if they could decide to put Sauce Gardner on Gabe Davis, where then you bracket coverage Stephon Diggs. I think that's also something they could look at doing. I think there's a little bit of different stuff they could play here with this game. But Gabe Davis probably has the highest ceiling of all the players you have listed here. But he also has a floor of like 6. So in a full PPR at flex, I think I would go. Man, this is tough. If you're looking for a straight ceiling, go Gabe Davis in this matchup here. We know how he could end up catch a couple touchdowns, and then I think for just a floor play, I think I would go Zonovan Knight. I like DJ Chark, but I can't play him over Gabe Davis or Zonovan Knight. Leonard Fournette's in the conversation, but there's just too much there. Bad matchup, everything else there, and he's being neutered by Rachaad White. So I think I'm going to go Gabe Davis here, ride with him, hoping he can bring in a long touchdown, and then if, like I said, Zonovan Knight would be the other option that I would look at.
So little wrong address situation. I knew it was going to happen. We always get people coming to the wrong house. I would go Chark there.
Matchup is certainly there, but it just feels a little point chasey, And the one thing that has worried me about this game all week is we did this last week. We do this a lot with these games where we think they're going to be bigger than they are. But this is an interdivisional game, second time they played each other, and usually the second time they play each other, we don't really see the sparks fly. These teams have seen each other. They kind of have been able to game plan. They have stuff they can do a little bit differently. And so that's the only thing that worries you about this game. I think there's a scenario where this game doesn't shoot out or it goes a different direction than what we think, because both of these teams are really bad against the pass and all this stuff. So I get all that. It's just I really hate to hitch my wagon to DJ Chark whenever I have somebody like Gabe Davis or some other better options. If I didn't have anybody else or it's kind of thin for the other options I have, I think it makes sense. I totally get it because the matchup is there, 100% matchups there for DJ Chark. But we're still talking about a player I think that only has two games all year of being over double-digit fantasy points. Granted, he missed some time too, but it's just I don't know. It just feels a little point chasey with the other options that are there.
I need 2 out of these 5, and appreciate you for rocking with us from Germany, Chris. Thank you for joining us. We are a bit behind here. Going to try and go rapid fire to make sure we get through all of these. Full PPR here for Garrett. We need 2 out of these 5. Zay Jones, Fournette, Gabe Davis, Homer, or Knight. Need to win to get in.
Okay, so I'm going to go Gabe Davis. And I'm going to go with Zonovan Knight. I think it's close between Zay Jones. I think Zay Jones is also a really solid play too. But I think I lean towards Zonovan Knight.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Zay and Gabe Davis there. But Knight would be the next one up. Brunel, Homer over Gabe Davis at the flex in a full PPR. I would not do that. I would go Gabe.
Yeah, I would go Gabe.
Gabe Davis, Fournette, Homer, Darius Slayton, or DJ Chark in the flex full PPR.
Going Gabe. What could possibly go wrong with hitching my wagon to Gabe Davis? Okay, we're doing it. We're going Gabe Davis.
And what could possibly go wrong with me hitching mine to DJ Chark?
It's just, man, like this game, like I don't know, like something about this makes me feel like this could be a really solid Gabe Davis game. With I think a lot of attention going towards Stephon Diggs, especially with the corners they have. I think you can see a lot of one-on-one man coverage, and so Gabe Davis, is a player that can go nuclear at any time, and so I think I just lean towards Gabe Davis.
Yeah, Ayuk or Rachaad White. I think I lean White.
I think I'm gonna go Brandon Ayuk there. It is close. I think both of them are decent plays, but I think I slightly lean towards Ayuk.
Perry, we need two here: Smitty, DJ Moore, Jamal Williams, Mostert, or Cook.
First two.
First two for me as well: Dulcich, Henry, or Fant.
Dulcich.
It's gonna be Greg for me. Chris Bailey, what up? P. Ryan, Homer, or Knight.
Zonovan Knight.
And then DPJ, Dortch, or Zay.
I'm going to go with Zay.
Go Zay as well. Dortch would be my last choice. King Marcelo, what's up, fellas? What's up, King? 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. PPR, do or die. So let's not kill the king here. 3 wide receivers. We have Debo, Godwin, Marquise Brown, Palmer, George Pickens, DPJ.
So Godwin's a lock. We're gonna go Debo with a little correlation there on the mini stack, and then I'm gonna go
Hollywood.
Yes, and then I'm gonna go Hollywood. Yeah, it'd be different with Palmer if the other guys were out, but we're getting Mike Williams and Keenan Allen back, kind of pushes him back to being kind of the 3rd or 4th option, maybe even the 5th option with Eckler and Everett.
2 running backs: Saquon, Foreman, Pacheco. Saquon is going to go, so we don't have to worry about Breida. So it's going to be those first 2 there for me with Saquon and Foreman.
Yeah.
And then we need a flex.
I'm going to put in Pacheco.
Let's go. Hope you get that dub, King. Hope to see you back next week. Truth Teller, win for me and I'm in. Let's do this. Eagles or Chiefs?
I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
I'm going Chiefs as well. Kyle, White, Homer, or Corey Davis?
White.
Need 2.
And Homer.
I'm going to go Rachaad White and Corey Davis. Slayer, 1200. PPR flex with a safer floor. DK, Foreman, Murray, or White?
I mean, the safer floor, I still... It's probably DK, and he still has the highest ceiling too. But
I would go Foreman. Here, but DK would be next for sure. Raylan, Swift or Garrett Wilson?
I'm gonna go with Swift.
We go Swift as well. Jim, full PPR star 2. DJ Moore, Tyler Boyd, Jerry Jeudy, Deonta Foreman, and DJ Chark.
I'm going to go Jeudy and Foreman.
I'm going to go DJ Moore and Foreman.
I really like DJ Moore, but I just can't bring myself to play 2 Panthers on the same team. Because I feel like one kind of cancels out the other, right? Because to me, which we've seen him go off before, I guess in the Falcons game, Foreman and DJ Moore went off. together in that game. But for me, like I really like Foreman. This is a really good matchup. He's somebody that I've talked about all week. Heck, he's on our the thumbnail that we have here. Like I am really liking uh Deontay Foreman this week. Really good matchup in this spot here. And I've kind of talked about it, but for people that are new here in Jim, you haven't heard this yet. If you haven't watched our video, I do the running back rankings video. He's somebody that I really highlighted, but since week 7, he is 14th in fantasy points per game, 3rd in attempts, rushing yards, 7th in touchdowns, 8th in yards after contact per attempt, and 7th missed tackles forced. And the Seahawks are 24th in rush DVOA. They'll have the 7th most rushing yards, the 6th most rushing touchdowns, and the 3rd most fantasy points to running backs. So it's a really good matchup. It's just about game script. The Panthers can keep this close. It's a great matchup for Deontay Foreman. If they don't and they fall behind quickly, that's where Deontay Foreman's got to run into problems. He's not really utilized in the passing game, and he could fall off a little bit. So as long as they can keep this close, which I think they can, then Foreman's in a great spot.
Goff or Trevor Lawrence? I'm going to go Goff here.
Yeah, I'd go Goff.
Cook or Zonovan Knight? Full PPR.
I'm going to go Knight.
Knight for me there as well. Herbert or Huntley? It's going to be Herbert. Eagles or KC? It's going to be Chiefs. Gano or Badgley? I'm going Badgley.
Yeah.
Good luck to you, Raylan. First week of the playoffs. What are we doing?
You should never have the playoffs start week 14 when buys are on. Like that's such a disadvantage to everybody. You've battled all year. Now you get week 14, and you could have a bunch of players on bye. Like
yeah. Cook or McKinnon full PPR?
James Cook.
Cook for me as well. I think we got to this one already. Finstrom, Goff or Prescott?
Goff.
I think it's Goff too. Austin Hooper or David Njoku? I'm going to go Njoku.
Yep.
KC or Philly? That's going to be KC. My God. So many of these. Add Patty Fry after this week and drop Dulcich.
You can.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're similar. And I also don't. I'd be lying if I said I knew what the matchups were coming up after this. So I think that is very much just a matchup play there. NFL. Seahawks or the Cardinals D. I'm going to go Seahawks.
Yeah, I agree.
Our guy Ray rocking with us. We run running back in a standard. Pierce, Knight, Cook, Chuba, or Pirine.
I'm going to go Zonovan Knight.
Zonovan Knight 4 for me as well. Zay Jones and Michael Gallup. I'm going to go Zay. Just because I think that's a more volume type of play compared to Gallup.
Yeah, I agree.
We already got Chris's. Robert, full PPR due to buying injuries. We need one here between NWI, Moore, or Terrace Marshall.
Ooh. I'm going to go Elijah Moore. I think it's close, really close between Westbrook Akine and Elijah Moore. But the best matchup for that game for the Jets is Elijah Moore. Teron Johnson is their worst corner. He's really struggled this year. He allows like 111 passer rating on the year. It's really where you want to attack the Bills is through the slot, and that's where Elijah Moore primarily plays. So I think I would go Elijah Moore there. It is close between Westbrook and Akine, but I think I would lean towards Elijah Moore.
Najee or Pacheco?
I'm gonna go Pacheco.
I'm gonna go Najee.
I'm gonna go Pacheco.
It's close. It's really close. In the flex here on a standard for Ray, Evans, Debo, Chark, Palmer. or take a shot at McKenzie. Not doing that.
Yeah, I would go with Debo.
Yeah. We need 2 here for NFL: D-Hop, Godwin, or Debo.
First 2.
Isaiah McKenzie or Boyd. It's going to be Boyd for me.
I'm going to go with McKenzie on that one.
AJ, 2 for a full PPR super flex. Doesn't look like we have any quarterback options, though, so we're just looking at Evans, Palmer, Pacheco, and Njoku, DPJ, Knight, or Cook.
So Pacheco and Mike Evans.
Yeah. Herbert or Burrow.
I'm going to go Burrow. It's close. I have Burrow at 4.
Yeah.
I have Herbert at 5.
Yeah, really close. But I'm going to go Burrow as well. TB, would you drop Jameson Williams for Dylan, Knight, or Madison?
I think you can. I mean, especially at this point of the season. I mean, I don't think Jameson Williams is just going to explode over the last couple of weeks. So, if I would probably rank it Knight, Dylan, and Madison as things currently stand. I know Dylan's been playing better recently, but again, it's kind of Zonovan Knight's the starter versus AJ Dillon being the backup. I think it's close between those two but I would lean towards Knight.
Knight for me as well. Fournette or Rachaad White?
Rachaad.
The Sun God or DK or Tony Pollard? We need one.
It's Sun God.
One. For my wide receiver 1 and 2, Mike Williams, Zay Jones, DJ Chark, Thielen, Judy, Deontay Johnson, or Tyler Boyd.
Mike Williams and Jerry Judy.
I'm going to go Williams and Zay Jones. It's going to be the first 2 for me. Tucci, Aguilar, NWI, Chris Moore, Dorsett, P. Ryan need to play 2 of the 5 full PPR.
So Nick Westbrook, Akine, and I'm going to go with Nelson Aguilar.
I'm going to go Nick Westbrook and P. Ryan. Another one here from Juan. Jamal Williams, James Conner, DJ Chark, Knox, Fant, or Deontay Johnson. I'm going to go James Conner on that one. Who the tight end spot between Knox, Fant, or Henry? Oh, boy. Gonna go Knox, but I don't love it. Just hitch me to the best.
I'm gonna go Henry, right? Because I think he's got the best matchup. Arizona is dreadful against tight ends, and so they are missing their slot in Jacoby Myers. So I think that actually helps him too. Arizona allows the most PPR points to tight ends, 19.4. It also rings the same in terms of schedule adjusted. They are also allow the most there as well. So I would go with Hunter Henry here.
Thielen or Godwin at the flex. That was going to be Godwin. Porter, chill the fuck out. We're behind. We'll get to your questions when we get to them. Noel, start 2 in a full PPR. Saquon, Pacheco, Christian Kirk. I'm going to sit Pacheco.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So this is the piece of news. I forgot I wanted to mention this when I saw it. We were trying to get all of these questions before we have to get out of here and do our own lineups. Chef said Seahawks are going to start Tony Jones. Would you start him over Homer? mean, I guess I would, but like we've seen these scenarios before where someone is like the quote unquote starter and it still ends up being, like a 50-50 split. I just don't know what to expect out of this backfield at all. I probably would lean Tony Jones, just like I said at the top of the show. Just because Homer has been more of a change of pace type back, but I still think he's a better running back overall versus Tony Jones. But I don't know. I would just try to avoid this if I could. NASCAR, let us know what other options you have beside this Seattle backfield. Pierce or Deonta Foreman? I'm going to go Foreman there.
I would go Foreman as well, for sure.
Captain, you grab these.
We already answered that one, didn't we?
I think so.
Yeah. So this one is going to be James Conner for me. It's close. I think both of them aren't in the best of matchups, but Travis Etienne just doesn't involve as much in the passing game as James Conner is. So I would just slightly lean more towards James Conner. Andrea, Gabe Davis for Zay Jones. It's gonna be Gabe Davis for me. I think Zay is probably a little bit safer in terms of just overall volume and probably slightly better matchup, but Gabe Davis can go off here, so I would just lean a little bit more towards quarterback play here and go with Gabe Davis. Chris, Mike Evans, DJ Chark, or Darius Slayton. This is going to be Mike Evans. Jeff, what's up? What's up, Jeff? Half point PPR, Najee Harris or Bam Knight. Zonovan Knight. It is Najee Harris for me. I think that's I would lean towards that way. Glock starting Fournette or White today. We're gonna go with Sean White. We've had that a ton.
Another missed delivery.
What is going on?
I don't know, but I'm also convinced that there's like a 500-pound person at the house where, like, dude, it's just always like that was IHOP. There was Jack in a Box the other day. I've woken up to like 3 Domino's pizzas just on our front porch. it happens all the time. Truth, J.K. Dobbins, who was on IR, now I got to put him on the bench since he's activated. I need to drop one. You guys said to start chart Chiefs defense, so drop Eagles D, Watson, or Patty Fry.
Assuming it's a 1 quarterback league and you already have a solid quarterback, I would just drop Watson. I mean, I think you could drop a defense too, but at least for now, I would look at that because the Chiefs next week get Houston too. By the way, so I'm playing Houston or the Chiefs against Houston all day too. So those are really good spots to be in for the Chiefs for the next couple of weeks.
Or would you just drop JK?
You could. I did. He's the. But I would prefer always to keep a running back. You never know. I mean, maybe he takes over. He has a really strong finish to the season. Those are all range of possibility things that could happen. I would just rather drop the other where you have 2 of.
Truth. Who's your other tight end as well? I'd be curious on that one. Cook and Swift, Pierce, or my running backs. Yeah, I'd probably still want to keep JK. I mean, obviously, you're at this point you're probably just locking in Cook and Swift on a week-to-week basis, but I'd still want to keep JK if Pierce is your only other option. DJ Moore, Pacheco, DJ Moore, or Amari Cooper. So Pacheco.
I'm starting DJ. I'm starting Moore over Cooper, but I would start Pacheco over Moore.
Okay. Brunel, should I start Okonkwo over Homer?
Well, you have to realize Okonkwo is also a thin play.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to see like. I mean, I shouldn't say he's not. He's probably not going to see like 7 or 8 targets, right? It's probably just not going to happen. And so like it's still going to be a thin play. He really hasn't been utilized in the red zone either. So or Homer, I think he's still at the very least he still has a role as a pass catcher, but it's also possible he gets more carries. We're talking about Tony Jones here. We're not talking about like somebody that we're really all that concerned with, and so it's possible there with Homer. I still think he's okay. Like that's why we talked about at the very beginning. We kind of said we don't really love playing any of these guys. Just really depends on who else you're playing. And I think you could probably bank on more opportunities for Travis Homer than you probably can for Okonkwo. Sorry.
Andre, start 1 wide receiver, 1 running back in a PPR. Keenan Allen, Marquise Brown, or Mike Evans. So I'm going to go Keenan out of that group.
Yep.
And then Pacheco, White, or Pierce at running back.
Pacheco.
Eddie O, Homer, or Deonta Foreman. That is going to be Foreman. Tim already asked us, but forgot to add Gabe Davis. So Najee, Pacheco, or Gabe.
I would still go Pacheco. I believe that's what I said at the beginning. That's where I'd go.
Homer or Corey Davis.
I would still go Homer.
I'm going to go Corey Davis on this one. Porter, no, I didn't forget. Eddie O, Jameson Williams, or drop him for P. Ryan since I have Mixon. I think at this point I'd want to have the handcuff. We typically talk about, not handcuffing your own running backs and kind of getting handcuffs to other running backs. But at this point, we've seen Mixon get banged up before, not the concussion thing, but he's missed games every single year. But I think at this point, I would drop Williams and pick up P. Ryan. Tam, we are split on this one. I am team Tyler Boyd, and Kev is rocking with McKenzie. Chark or Chenault? That's going to be DJ Chark.
That is DJ. Yeah, that is Chark for me. Laviska Shenault, talked about him earlier. Kind of a sneaky little play. But yeah.
Full PPR, Knight, P. Ryan, or Homer? It's going to be Zonovan Knight.
Yes.
Which kicker, Tyler Bass or the Chiefs kicker? I don't know why I can't think of his name right now.
I'd go Bucker.
That's right.
Especially in Denver. I mean, I can nail a 60-yarder today. Did we miss one? Oh, we did.
Sorry,
PPRs. Devontae Parker, Woods, Homer, or Carter. I would go Parker. I think I would still go Homer. I think I would go Homer here over Robert Woods or DeAndre Carter. DeAndre Carter's kind of like phased. I mean, he is well down the pecking order now with everybody back. So Woods is somewhat interesting. Man, he just looks dust. He just looks dead. And so I would just lean towards Parker and Homer.
Samesies. Sorry about that, Ashton. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. Yeah, if you have Kelsey as your tight end one, you can drop Patty Fry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And he has Murray at quarterback, so yeah.
Hey, no problem, Porter, but patience. We get to every single question. So we're not ignoring you, I promise. Frank, Evans, Singletary, or ETN at the flex? Oh boy.
I'm gonna. I think maybe at this one I would go Travis Etienne. I don't know.
I'm gonna go Evans.
So here's the thing. All of them are not in good spots. Okay, all of them are not in good spots. Let's get that out of the way now. None of them are projected to be just like great plays that you can't miss. Right? Singletary's now splitting touches with Rashad White. Not great. Or Rashad White with James Cook. Sorry. And I don't know if he's going to be the guy. Like he definitely can lose touches, but it's not a great matchup against the Jets. The Jets' run defense has been pretty good this year. He's losing now pass catching work to James Cook as well, so that is a problem. Then you have Travis Etienne, who gets one of the worst matchups. We've talked about this a bunch already today. We've talked about it all week. The Titans have just been really good. They allow the third fewest fantasy points to running backs on the season. They are like first or second in rush DVOA against running backs. They've just done a really good job. And then you have Mike Evans, who matchup just doesn't really line up here either. Tom Brady has not been looking to throw the ball deep, so it makes it tough to trust him. Weather could be a little bit of concern. And, you're talking about a team that's going up against one of the best defenses in the league. Now, the thing that is a little bit intriguing with Mike Evans is their corners tend to give up big plays, the deep ball. Shavarius Ward struggles in that aspect, especially against bigger wide receivers. So I think it's close between Evans and Etienne. Understand both of them are in not great spots, but Travis Etienne probably sees more carries, more opportunities. maybe he can get a goal line carry and punch one into the end zone, where Mike Evans just hasn't been that. They haven't been utilizing him in the red zone either, which has been weird because that's kind of always been his MO. So again, none of these are in great spots. I think it's really close between Evans and ETN. I slightly lean towards ETN, but I could also, if you ask me in 10 minutes, I could probably say Mike Evans too. It's just really close between those two. Singletary's not a factor for me, but I just slightly lean towards ETN because ETN could see 15 to 18 touches where Evans could see 4. But he could also rip off a long touchdown. It's tough because the Bucks have not shown the willingness to want to throw the ball down the field, but it's because their offensive line is so bad. They don't have the time to set up and allow Mike Evans to run down the field and be able to make it down the field and everything. So that's kind of the explanation as to why there. I know I didn't probably give you a definitive answer of just one being a great play, but none of them are in great spots.
Yeah, I'm just going to lean Evans here. With Singletary really isn't in the mix, just because could be James Cook, could be Cook starting to take over. I would still want to see that before saying that's what's going to happen, but that is the possibility for this week. With ETN, like you said, Kev, just not in a great matchup whatsoever. Neither is Mike Evans, but over the last 5 weeks, the Niners have given up the 10th most PPR points per game to wide receivers. So, Evans has still been getting targeted. He just had he's been getting 8 targets and 2 catches. I think that's going to level out at some points. That's why I lean Evans. So for the Tony Jones question, I have Homer currently, Tony Jones, Kendall Hinton, the Texan wide receivers. No, you don't. I mean, unless we're talking Chris Moore and Dorsett, or DJ Chark is available, need one for the flex. I would go Chark. I mean, what could possibly go wrong with hitching my wagon?
Yeah, and the situation with that, I think now, knowing everything, I think maybe just go DJ Chark and hope he finds the end zone.
Yeah. HG rocking with us. Haven't seen Hele in here for a while. Good to see you. 3 running backs, Mixon, Chubb, Henry, or ETN. I'm going to sit ETN.
Yep. First 3, and then the wide receivers, I would go Kirk and Allen.
Yep. Big Truz, Foreman, Pierce, or Tony Jones. Foreman. Jamal or Cook.
And we're probably not going to help you. I'm going to go James Cook. He's going to go Jamal Williams.
I will go Jamal just because of I know for sure Jamal Williams is at least going to see 10 to 12 carries. Could Cook see that same volume? Sure, he could. I would prefer Cook. If you told me hey, these guys are going to get the same volume, I would lean Cook. But it could just be a situation where it just goes back to Singletary again. So I just lean Jamal because I think he's safer. Joker, Stevenson, Jamal Williams, Rashad White, Jeff Wilson, Deonta Foreman, full PPR. We need 2. Stevenson and Foreman for me.
Yep, agreed.
3 running backs, Mixon, Pacheco, Homer, Foreman, Fournette, and Latmer. Mixon, Pacheco, and Foreman.
Yep.
Oh, no tag here. How'd you get away with that? Otten or Bellinger at tight end today? I'm going to go Bellinger just because there's no one else there that is going to be mixing in. That's really the only reason why.
Yeah, Cameron Brate back. He missed last week. Yeah, I would go Bellinger.
On the line, Dortch or Pirine?
This is another one of those same things that we just talked about. I would go Greg Dortch, but if I know he probably wasn't here when I talked about all the wide receivers, but there's a lot of other wide receivers that I just rather prefer to play than Greg Dortch. Now, I don't know if any of them are available, but like we talked about, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is somebody that I would definitely want to play over him. Isaiah McKenzie, which he's probably less likely, but Kendall Hinton, Elijah Moore are all better plays, I think, than Greg Dortch this week, or a little bit more projectable guys that I would look to play. I think even somebody I think that would probably be the list. I mean, Laviska Shenault's in the conversation, but I would probably lean towards Greg Dortch at that point. But because he's probably the 4th option in this option with this team, with Greg Dortch and Pirine, I just don't know what to expect in terms of his play volume. So If you have to go one, I would go Greg Dortch. I know Cody's going to go Samaje Perine. Also, Nelson Aguilar, I think, is also a really good player. I forgot to mention him. Nelson Aguilar, I would actually probably have right there with Nick Westbrook and Akine as the two guys, followed by Hinton, and then with right there. So that's kind of the way I would look at it.
Do you like Aguilar over Parker?
Yes.
Okay. McKinnon or Cooper in the flex. It's going to be Cooper.
Yep.
Zay Jones or Homer. We're going to go Zay Jones.
Yep.
Thank you, Andrea, for rocking with us. Hope you have a good day as well. And then with Matt, Rachaad White, Pacheco, Jamal Williams, we need 2 in a full PPR.
I'm sitting Jamal Williams.
I'm going to sit Rachaad White. I'm going to go with Jamal. Last one here, Anthony H., Jeff Wilson, or Raheem Mostert. Is it possible to start both? I would not start both, Anthony. And I
think it's possible. It just really depends on who you have, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you could do it. We've seen it work before. Great matchup, but it is thin. So I would probably rather just pick one, and I would pick Jeff Wilson.
Probably lean Jeff Wilson as well, because I don't think we see the disparity that we saw last week in the touches. I think it's closer to a 50-50 split, if not Wilson potentially getting a little bit more. So appreciate you all for rocking with us. Thank you so much. We will be going live tonight at Sunday Night Football halftime to look at the first look at waivers for Week 15. Hopefully the first week of your playoffs. Any other questions you guys have, go ahead and jump into our Discord and we can answer some over there if you have any last minute questions. But otherwise, good luck this week. Hope you guys lock up the playoffs, and we'll talk to you soon.